All right. Someone asked me to do a question like number 43 on your assignment, just to kind of explain exactly what it's asking. So I'm just going to make it up, okay? So um, say I needed to borrow $240,000 for a mortgage, and I went to the bank and they offered me 4.25% over 20 years. All right. And the assessed value of the house, the value that the government says this house that I'm going to buy for 240,000 is worth, is actually 280,000. That is the assessed value. And the mill rate in this community is, I don't know, 7.3194. Okay, that's the mill rate. So if I ask you, what is the monthly housing costs for this house? What I want to know is, assuming no repairs, assuming nothing like that, and not taking into account insurance or anything like that, just taking into account mortgage and property tax, what's that going to cost me per month? Because when you go to buy a house, it's actually very important that you know what you can afford, because the banks will give you way more money than you can afford. When we got this house, we actually qualified for a $250,000 mortgage, which I laughed hysterically at, because at that time in our lives, at the income that both my husband and I had, there was no way we could afford the payments on a $250,000 mortgage. We just couldn't do it. Thankfully, we only needed $144,000, but the bank was willing to give us $250,000. We would make ourselves what is called house poor, which basically means you got a really nice house but you can't afford to do anything. You basically sit in your house with very minimal electricity and probably maybe some running water, but you can't afford to do anything because all of your money is going into the house. Had we had classes, one of the things we do is we watch it used to be a Canadian show, and it was done by a financial advisor lady called Gail Vaz Oxlade. And she's sort of like me. She pulls no punches. She says what she thinks. But what she would do is she would go into homes in crisis. She would go into families in financial crisis, and she would help them get out of that financial crisis and give them the tools to not get there again. One of the things that she says is, when you're making a budget, your housing costs, so your mortgage and your property taxes, should be no more than 25% of your net income. If it is, then you can't afford that house. I have seen episodes where she told the people, the first thing you need to do is put your house up for sale because you can't afford it. Sorry, tirade. There we go. If you want to look up, she did a couple of shows. One was called Till Debt Do Us Part, not death, but debt, Till Debt Do Us Part. They're on YouTube, a lot of them. And she did one for spoiled, mostly women, but she did a couple of guys too, called Princess, where she took like 20-something-year-old girls who had no idea how to live their life, and by their mid-20s, they already had themselves very far down the financial hole, and she tried to help them get out of debt. For some, she was successful. For some, she was very much not. But if you want to YouTube some of those, I highly recommend them. She's got some really, really good tips in terms of budgeting, in terms of looking at what do I make, and what percentage of what I make should go to food, what percentage should go to housing, what percentage should go, like, she really breaks it down so that you kind of know, am I overspending in a specific area? She's actually very good. She does swear a little bit, so just ignore that. But she is very, very good, but she is kind of rude, but again, that doesn't bother me. All right, so in this example, I said I want to go and I want to get a mortgage for $240,000. I don't have any down payment in this specific example. The bank is offering me 4.25% over 20 years, which is actually closer to real life. Some of the examples they give at 7 and 8%. In this day and age, if you have a mortgage at 8%, turn around and run, because that's way too high. Like I said, mine right now is at 1.95, but a fixed mortgage is a little bit higher, so 3-4% would be good. Sorry, motorcycles going by. All right, so I'm going to borrow $240,000 at 4.25% over 20 years. So I'm going to go to my table, and I'm looking at 4.25 and 240,000. Remember, I do 240,000 divided by 1,000 because I need to know how many thousands is that. Really, you should be able to do that in your head, but if you can't, there you go. So 4.25 over 20 years is 6.17. So that means I take that 240 and I multiply it by 6.17. Well, shoot, I thought I had Harriet up here. I hate the iPad because you cannot pause the video. So just fast forward while I disappear for a second, grab Harriet and be right back. So just keep, do the Jeopardy thing. Harriet. Where's Harriet? All right, guys, I'm coming. So hopefully you just fast forwarded through that. All right, so 240 times 6.17 is $1,480.80. Now, when you figure out mortgage, that is per month. Okay, so when you figure out mortgage, that's per month. So, when I'm figuring out the monthly cost, that's part of it. That's usually the big part of it, is your mortgage payment. But you also are going to have a property tax payment. So this was mortgage. We're going to do property tax. And so rather than take what you bought it at, you take the assessed value, which is $280,000. Divide it by 1,000, which will give you 280, and multiply it by the mill rate. And so when I do that, I get $2,049.43, but that is per year. So I'm going to divide that by 12, which is 170.79 cents per month, okay? So when I'm looking for monthly costs, I spelled it wrong, monthly costs, you have your mortgage at $1,480.80, plus you have your property tax at $170.79. Which is $1,651.59. So that is what I need to budget every month in order to say, yes, I can afford this house. Again, I would need to make sure that that fits easily within my budget, because you have to remember there are lots of other expenses that go along with home ownership. Things like house insurance, which is a must. Things like putting away some money every month for house repairs, because you're going to have them. Even in a new house, there's little things you're going to want to do. You're going to want to paint the walls. You're going to want to lay a different flooring down. There's always little things to be done. This house, I've got a list a mile long that I need done in the house, and we just have to take them one small project at a time. Now, the second thing that I ask in number 43 is, so in the end, what is the house actually going to cost him? Or if it's me, what is the house actually going to cost me? Well, that actually has nothing to do with property tax, because property tax has nothing to do with me paying back the house, paying back the money that I borrowed from the bank to pay for the house. Like, that's got nothing to do with it. All right? So when it says, what did the house actually cost, or I can't remember exactly how I worded it, but what is the actual cost of the house? What do I actually end up paying for my house in the end? Again, that does not include property taxes, because that's a tax. That is not you paying for your house. That is you paying the tax on your house every single year. So what did I actually pay for? Because on paper, I paid $240,000 for my house. When they do the purchase, when they do the sale receipt, they put $240,000 down. Like, sale of house, $240,000. But I don't actually pay $240,000 for my house. I pay way more. So, what is the house actually going to cost me? And once again, let me say it again, that has nothing to do with property taxes. Taxes are taxes. Mortgage payment is what actually pays back what you owe on your house, okay? So, I'm going to pay $1,480.80 per month. So if I want to know what I'm going to pay in a year, I'm going to multiply it by 12. So $1,480.80 times 12. In a year, I'm going to pay $17,769.60 per year. Now, again, this interest rate could fluctuate, but assuming that it doesn't, assuming that I pay it back for the full 20 years, I don't pay it off early or anything, I pay it off for the full 20 years, and it stays at 4.25%, what am I actually paying for the house? So I'm paying that much per year, and I'm doing it for 20 years. So I'm going to multiply this by 20, and it's $355,392. That was the actual cost of the house. That's what I actually paid for my house. I paid property taxes on top of that, but everybody pays property taxes. Like, even if I pay off my house, I still pay property taxes every year. So this is the actual cost of the house. I bought it for $240,000, but I'm actually going to pay $355,392 for my house. Plus, every year I'm going to pay property taxes. But again, the property taxes does not go towards the cost of purchasing your house. If I had done a down payment, then I would have to add the down payment into the actual cost of the house, because I paid the down payment plus whatever all my payments were. All right? So if there was a down payment, you would have to add that in to the actual cost of your house. You would do, what's my monthly payment? What do I pay per year? How many years am I paying it back? Plus, I also paid at the beginning a down payment, and that would be the actual cost of the house. In my example here, I did not put a down payment on my house. I borrowed the full $240,000. All right? I hope that cleared up any questions. I tried to kind of repeat myself a bit. Sorry about the pause in the middle. I could, edit it and take it out, but I'm too lazy to do that, is the real answer. All right? So if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask it. One person actually did out a question, and then she had a question about it, and so what she did was she recorded her answer and pointed to where her questions were and said, I want to know, like, how did you figure out this number right here? I got this, but I didn't understand how to get this number. That really helped me to be able to answer her question efficiently. So just a tip for others who may be asking questions, that actually worked really, really well. Yeah, so again, if you have questions, please let me know. I can do up these videos really quick if I need to. So enjoy the rest of your weekend.